Well, most of the delegation of athletes, coaching staff, and spectators have yet to leave their hotels. That's why, as you can see behind me, this is the intersection of EDSA and Rojas Boulevard here in Pasay. There's a slight buildup of traffic, but a while ago, it's just light to moderate. Convoy organizers are just double-checking the buses that will leave for the Philippine Arena. They're making sure all the security measures and other logistical preparations are complete. MMDA enforcers are also deployed to different areas to make sure that traffic is well regulated. The MMDA is expecting a buildup of traffic as scores of convoys will pass through EDSA. That's why the enforcers are holding up signs which point to the yellow lane reserved for convoys. A stop-and-go scheme will also take place from 12 noon to 5 p.m. to give way to the convoys. The MMDA is advising the public to plan their schedules ahead and take alternate routes. Claire.
Thanks. That was Rex Remitio reporting live from Pasay City. Let's check another portion of EDSA. Our Chrissy Di Matulak is monitoring from Pioneer Street in Mandaluyong City. Chrissy, are we seeing any gridlock there so far?
Claire, we have seen a couple of convoys take the yellow lane here along EDSA, corner Pioneer Street, presumably heading to the Philippine Arena for the opening of the 30th Southeast Asian Games. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority earlier selected this route to be used by those who will attend the opening ceremonies later. At the moment, Claire, as you can see behind me, traffic is already beginning to slow down. There are MMDA enforcers holding up signs that point to the yellow lane, the side of the road reserved for SEA Games convoys and public buses. Traffic Chief Bong Nebriha earlier explained they will be implementing a stop-and-go scheme from 12 noon to 5 p.m. to give way to northbound convoys. He urged motorists to be patient and give way to these vehicles in order for participants to make it in time for the 7 p.m. opening. Nebriha said those going to malls along EDSA during those hours should take alternate routes or public transportation instead. He assured the public that MMDA is prepared for the worst traffic scenario today. Claire?
Chrissy Di Matulak live from Mandaluyong. CNN Philippines will have a special coverage of the Southeast Asian Games. That is at 6 o'clock tonight with Andre Felix and Christine Jacob Sandejas. Pauline, what's the latest?
Well, Claire, according to our marshal here, the travel time is about 1.5 hours to the Philippine Arena, so that's around 3:30 p.m. 4 buses have been provided by the Philippine SEA Games Organizing Committee for members of the media and official sponsors coming from World Trade Center. Right now, I'm with both local and foreign media from the 11 participating nations, and we are on our way to the Philippine Arena, which will be the venue for the opening ceremony later. We are escorted by the PNP Highway Patrol Group, and special lanes have been dedicated for SEA Games convoys along EDSA and NLEX, so we are hoping to ease through traffic en route to the venue. Now, the official program won't start until 7 p.m., but before that, there will be a pre-show at 5 in the afternoon. Gates will open at 3:30, but they're also expected to close by 5 p.m. to prepare for President Rodrigo Duterte's arrival. Security will be extra tight for tonight's festivities as the president will declare the games open. More than 8,000 athletes and team officials are also expected to kick off the biennial meet. Olympic silver medalist Heidelin Diaz, together with 5 other top Filipino athletes, will serve as flag bearers during the parade. The organizers have been preparing for this opening ceremony really hard. They promise us a world-class showcase of talent. There will be special performances by international Pinoy artist Apple de App, as well as local stars Christian Bautista, KZ Tandingan, and Lani Misalucha. Now, that's all the updates I have for you. From here, I'll have more later when we arrive at the Philippine Arena in Bulacan. Back to you.
Sounds exciting. Thanks, Pauline Versosa there reporting. CNN Philippines will have a special coverage before the opening ceremonies. That's at 6 o'clock tonight with Andre Felix and Christine Jacob Sandejas. This weekend. Weather Bureau Pagasa says Typhoon Kamuri maintains its strength as it nears the Philippine area. As of now, it's carrying maximum sustained winds of 150 kilometers per hour and gustiness of 185 kilometers per hour. It is moving at a slow pace at 15 kilometers per hour.
Yes, Claire, aside from the athletes, the venues, the officials, and the volunteers, the media will be a key piece to this SEA Games puzzle. And on opening day, we check on the IBC, or the International Broadcast Center here in Clark, Pampanga. According to Nestor Boloro, of course, the overall project manager here at the IBC, there are 18 booths that were set up for the different broadcast rights holders, to which they can expect video and audio lines that can receive and transmit up to 25 channels. They can, of course, bring their own equipment depending on the type of coverage they need. Now, the IBC has a central equipment room that's fed to different networks, and when the games get busier, I was told they will be capable of sending signals to 16 feeds simultaneously. Now, the area has free Wi-Fi, but most have decided to purchase additional internet packages and are happy with the connection so far. Food and drinks are available for the media as well. They're expecting to accommodate as much as 1,500 international and local media combined that will be in and out of the IBC during the games, but they can also enjoy watching the live action over here at Hall C. Finally, a virtual booth with different templates related to the SEA Games is also available to book for added coverage needs, rather. At the moment, I'm in the official press con venue for this cluster, but all in all, the IBC is ready for the jam-packed schedule that awaits them today.
This is the Junior Edition of Newsroom. I'm Gabby.
Thanks for joining us today, November 30. I'm Nate.
And I'm Dana. Be sure to stay tuned because we have a lot of stories for you. It's all systems go for this year's Southeast Asian Games. Organizers say early event issues have been resolved and that they strive to make the country's hosting successful. While several games have already started, the SEA Games officially opens today, November 30. The games are expected to end by December 11. The organizers have also appealed to the public media to publish more good news about the upcoming games. Speaker and Philippine SEA Games Organizing Committee Chairman Alan Peter Cayetano also denies that there are irregularities in the handling of the SEA Games budget. He says he is ready for any impending investigation on the issue. Arcian Arcangel has more.
House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano tells critics to let the Southeast Asian Games proceed before demanding for his head over controversies hounding the country's hosting of the event. Cayetano is also chairman of the Philippine SEA Games Organizing Committee, or PHISGOC, and he admits some glitches caused inconvenience to both foreign and local delegates. But he says the problems, such as the food served to the athletes, were just blown out of proportion by the media because of an alleged operation against him.
Yesterday, may nag-present sa akin, there was really an operation. There were really one or two mistakes na kasalanan talaga natin. I'm not saying were perfect. The intention was to get us to keep reacting and stop organizing. December 12, hold me accountable. Hold the SEA Games Organizing Committee at hindi ako magtatago. Ako po ang haharap sa Senado, sa Ombudsman.
Cayetano says he has been told by an emissary of President Rodrigo Duterte to continue with the preparations amid the controversies. Malacanang says the Office of the President will hold its own probe on the supposed irregularities related to the event. Cayetano, however, says there's no such thing.
That wasn't the message to me by the President. Sec Panelo sometimes has his own interpretation or his own words.
The Speaker also belies Senator Panfilo Lacson's analogy that the transfer of 1.5 billion pesos to PHISGOC could be compared to the modus of pork barrel scam mastermind Janet Lim Napoles. He insists there's nothing wrong about how he handled the SEA Games funds, despite questions raised by Senator Franklin Drilon about unnecessary spending.
Senator Drilon, Senator Lacson, sabi niyo ceasefire, pero araw-araw may bago kayong tira. Yun ang problema kay Senator Drilon. Pag hindi ako kaharap, kung ano-anong ginagawa. Tapos pagkaharap ako, hindi naman niya sabihin yung gusto niyang sabihin. You know, you can look for any anomalies as much as you want. Wala eh.
Cayetano warns what he calls anti-Duterte forces to prepare because he will also go after them once the SEA Games is over. He says libel and other criminal charges will be filed against those who maliciously spread false information about the event.
Galing-galingan yung target nyo, di ba? Pero I will also unmask those people who shameless o mga walang hiya na gusto talagang sirain ang image ng ating bansa.
For now, Cayetano urges the public to unite behind Filipino athletes in their quest to bring glory to the country. Cian Arcangel, CNN, Philippines.
Welcome back to the Junior edition of Newsroom. Traffic management plans for EDSA, Rojas Boulevard, and other parts of Metro Manila are already in place, just in time for the formal opening of the 30th Southeast Asian Games today. The use of yellow lanes will be maximized and stop-and-go scheme will be implemented along EDSA. Malls along or adjacent to EDSA have also agreed to forego weekend sales promotions to help ease the traffic situation. More than 1,000 MMDA personnel will also be deployed during the SEA Games from November 30 to December 11. Makoy Papioco has the story.
The Metro Manila Development Authority is sticking with its initial plan of implementing stop-and-go scheme. Traffic Manager Bong Nebria says it may be too late to change plans. He is talking about the Philippine National Police that recently said it is evaluating the need for a special lane on EDSA dedicated for SEA Games delegates.
Sa amin, kung sabi nila na mag-dedicated lane tayo, then we will come up with whatever we have. But then again, wala tayong simulation exercise na. It's not only us who should get to know this. The drivers.
Under the stop-and-go scheme, personnel will halt traffic on portions of EDSA when the SEA Games convoys pass. During a dry run of traffic management last week, authorities noticed that private motorists were cutting off the convoy on the yellow lane. Due to this, Nebria says the MMDA decided to beef up personnel deployment. Over 100 traffic personnel will be assigned to EDSA.
There will be practically a human barricade of enforcers on the yellow lane, just to make sure that we could free up the yellow lane for the convoy.
Authorities warn traffic will be heavy not only along EDSA but also on the North Luzon Expressway, as thousands of athletes will be making their way to the Philippine Arena, the opening program venue. Many athletes are billeted in different hotels across the metro, and some sporting venues are also located near traffic choke points. With the holiday rush and the conduct of the SEA Games until December 11th, traffic gridlock could possibly be a daily occurrence in the next 2 weeks.
Let's cooperate. Let's stay home and watch the opening ceremony. No, instead of being on the road on EDSA na nagpapadagdag pa tayo sa volume.
The government aims to stage a record-breaking hosting of the SEA Games, the biggest and the grandest, it says. Now, since we'll have to wait at least another 10 years to host the event, authorities hope motorists would cooperate. Makoy Papioco, CNN, Philippines.
And that's it for today's Junior edition of Newsroom. I'm Gabby.
I'm Nate. We'll see you again next Saturday.
And I'm Dana. Keep it here on CNN Philippines. Hey, sige.
It's the opening day of the 30th Southeast Asian Games. This is the 4th time that the country is hosting the regional meet. Our sports correspondent Pauline Versosa is now at the Philippine Arena in Bulacan, where the opening ceremony will be held. Pauline, how are the preparations there?
Well, that's right, Claire. We're only 3 hours away from the official opening of the 30th Southeast Asian Games. And as you can see behind me, thousands of Filipino spectators are already flocking here at the Philippine Arena. Earlier at 3:30, gates already open to the public and everyone is going through security. They're starting to let people inside the arena. And upon arriving here, there was also a slight buildup of vehicles entering the parking. Now, as we all know, the Philippine Arena is the largest indoor arena in the world with a seating capacity of 55,000. So aside from the 8,000 athletes and team officials, we are expecting to kick off the festivities. We are also expecting a great number of Filipino spectators to attend and witness this historical opening. Now, as I mentioned earlier, gates already open at 3:30, but at 5 p.m. they will close and there will be a lockdown to prepare for the arrival of President Rodrigo Duterte. Now, the official program won't start until 7 p.m., but beginning at 5 o'clock this afternoon, there will be a pre-show already to entertain our Filipino audience here. Claire?
Thanks, Pawi. Pauline Versosa there reporting. CNN Philippines will have a special coverage before the opening ceremonies. That is at 6 o'clock tonight with Andre Felix and Christine Jacob Sandejas. On the eve of the opening of SEA Games, President Rodrigo Duterte says, "I'm sorry."
It was not a small, they were not small incidents rather.
Okay.
Mabigat yun. You invite countries to send athletes tapos ganun ang mangyari. To me, it's not, what happened is, I'm sorry, it did, but I'm really apologizing for the country. But then again, I said, they should know while they are still here that government is not happy with it and that their president, the president of the country where they are playing, has ordered for an investigation.
Okay.
That at least would assuage a little bit of their sama ng loob.
Okay. And
Back home, they will be talking about it. So just do not treat it as a kind of a matter that should be not a cause for concern. It would cost us, because I said when they go back, they would start to talk about it.
in an exclusive live interview with CNN Philippines, the president also said he doesn't think that the House Speaker, Alan Peter Cayetano, is corrupt amid allegations of spending irregularities in the SEA Games. You can catch the replay of that one-on-one interview tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Watching a CNN Philippines special coverage on the opening of the 30th Southeast Asian Games. Now, thousands of delegates from 11 countries are gathering at the Philippine Arena in Bulacan as the regional meet officially kicks off tonight. Good evening. I'm Christine Jacobs-Sandejas.
Exciting times ahead. I'm Andre Felix. I'm back. This year's SEA Games is one of the biggest, Christine, in history, with 56 sports included in the lineup, and more than 500 gold medals are up for grabs. 11 sports are also making their debut, including skateboarding, 3x3 basketball, and of course, and esports, among others. Today is a historic day, definitely, for all the Filipinos, Christine. May it be you are a sports fan or not, it is a historic day for us. Aside from it being, today is November 30.
Yes, this is the 156th birth anniversary, of course, of revolutionary hero Andres Bonifacio. And what better way to celebrate it than,
we are hosting the SEA Games again.
Host the SEA Games, and also we support a new type of hero, and that will be our athletes, because they put in their heart and soul as they perform.
This is the fourth time we are hosting. We started hosting it back in 1981, then 1991, then 2005, and then now you actually partake in the 1981, the first time we hosted the SEA Games. How was that like?
It was surreal. I mean, as a 13-year-old girl actually performing. And there's something about being part of the Philippine team in the Philippines. I mean, you cannot, we have been witnessing a lot of the events that have been happening prior to this day, and already we have, surpassed the amount of people that are there at the venues cheering. We know football. It's amazing. It's like they are the new rock stars in the next 2 weeks, and we are all here to serve the athletes, the government, PSC. They're all here for them.
We're uniting as one. That's why we win as one. 5,500 athletes at the opening ceremony. Apple will be performing, Lani Misalucha, among others. And the opening ceremony will take place.
That's right. Will take place at the Philippine Arena in Bulacan in less than an hour. Again, thousands of delegates from all over the region are gathering at the Philippine Arena in Bulacan for a star-studded ceremony that pays tribute to Philippine culture. And you're now looking at pictures taken from inside the Philippine Arena. The opening ceremony will start at 7 p.m. Creative director and award-winning writer Floyd Quinto says he made sure the opening rites will showcase the art, dance, and way of living of Filipinos, especially the country's indigenous groups.
I've been doing this a lot kasi I've been doing a lot of national events and shows which deal with aspects of indigenous culture. Mahalaga sa akin yun bilang tao, bilang creator, is looking back at yung ating mga katutubo and trying to study as much as possible what they've contributed to our national culture. Is that it has to be inclusive. We have to include people whom other Filipinos may not even know about.
And the program will have 4 segments with around 400 dancers performing alongside a star-studded lineup of singers and artists. Now, that includes Asia's Nightingale, Lani Misalucha, Asia's romantic balladeer, Christian Bautista, and Asia's Soul Supreme, Casey Tandingan.
Grammy-winning Phil Am rapper Apple Diap of the Black Eyed Peas will also hit the stage. He led the final leg of the torch run in his hometown of Angeles City in Pampanga. And lighting the cauldron, boxing icon Senator Manny Pacquiao. Now here's a look at the People's Champ rehearsing for the program. The cauldron is 50 meters tall, which is 6 times Pacquiao's height.
The cauldron is also located at the new Clark City in Tarlac. Now that's 88 kilometers away from the Philippine Arena in Bulacan. Organizers have yet to reveal how Pacquiao will light the cauldron. But House Speaker and SEA Games Organizing Committee head Alan Peter Cayetano says it's something to watch out for.
Can I let it remain a surprise? But let me assure you, it is one of the highlights of the opening ceremonies.
More victories for Team Philippines yesterday, the eve of the official opening of the Southeast Asian Games. The national women's football team entered the semifinals after scoring a blowout 5-0 victory over Malaysia. Pinay forward Sabrina Isabella Bolden led away with a hat-trick, scoring 3 of the team's 5 goals. The Philippines now has 1 win and 1 draw in women's football.
Now, the national men's football team also scored a crucial victory. Now, they defeated Malaysia 1-0 to stay in contention for a semis slot. Ascal's captain, Stephen Schrock, showing his veteran form with a goal in the 71st minute. The Ascals now have 4 points from 3 matches.
Meantime, a good showing so far from the country's figure skaters. Filipina Alison Percheto, leads the senior ladies short program. She got a score of 53.65 points. Percheto won bronze in the 2017 SEA Games. She's followed by skaters from Singapore and Indonesia. Another Filipina skater, Serena Gillette, is at 9th place.
Now, over in the seniors men division, 2 Filipinos are currently in the top 3. We have Adrian Paul Celestino and Christopher Calusa trail Malaysia's Julian Yi, who topped the short program. The final rankings will be determined tomorrow when these points are added to the long program results.
And guess what? We're not just alone here in the studio. We are joined by 2 of our sports desk analysts. We have Mr. Sadelf Tupas, our football analyst, and SEA Games basketball gold medalist, PBA legend Coach Ronnie Magsanok. Hello, gentlemen. Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. What a day for Philippine sports, Coach.
Nice to be here. Nice to be a part of a nation celebrating what we are trying to hold today for the Southeast Asian Games.
Sed, it's nice to have you. I know you've been busy. He's been really busy. His editor has been bugging him to write articles left and right. How is it so far, Sed?
Well, it's been hectic because, I've been assigned to cover football. And football is probably the longest event of the SEA Games. So my SEA Games is probably 1 week old already. My coverage is 1 week old because we're just opening the games tonight. But football has been going on. Ascals have already played 3 matches, and they're looking good at the moment.
Let's start with football, since you are here, a football analyst, and we mentioned it earlier, Christina and I. Sadelf, we'll start, Coach Ronnie, with Sed, the national women's football team said, what can you say about this victory so far? Entered the semifinals after scoring that blowout 5-0 victory over Malaysia, Sed.
Well, I thought that this team already showed glimpses of what they're capable of when they held Myanmar to a draw. Last Tuesday in Binyan. The crowd in Binyan has been amazing. People have been flocking to the venue to support the women's team, the Malditas. It's great because support for the national team, even though with all the controversies that the hosting has been going through, I think it has helped them. It has motivated this team. But before that, you also have to recognize the preparation of this team. This team trained in Japan, and they probably simulated all, the styles of play of their opponents. And Myanmar beat the Philippines 3-0 the last time they played, and they improved this time by holding them to a goalless draw. This team, Malaysia, they beat them 3-0 the last time. And here, with some support at home, they managed to increase that goal tally. They could have scored more, honestly. 5-0 was really a great result. But now they're on to the semifinals for the first time. The last time we won a medal in this event, 1985. A bronze medal because there were 3 teams. A bronze medal because there were 3 teams. So, this team is making history, and they will face either Thailand or Vietnam in the next round, and that should be a very, very difficult task.
So how about
fearless?
Fearless forecast for the ASCALs?
Oh, wow.
Fun shock.
It's I'm still blown away. I was there last night.
Did you hear, though? Did you hear the crowd? I mean, it was incredible.
You get goosebumps. When you see the scenes there.
Yeah.
Even, when Schrock scored the goal, I felt there was a moment of silence before the ball crossed the line. And it felt like the celebration was a bit belated because...
Delayed, no?
There's an anxious moment from the crowd, but they thoroughly deserved that win. I thought the ASCALs played really high intensity, high pressure, and, Malaysia, for all their quality, hardly had time on the ball.
So with all of that, how much would the home field advantage, Coach Ronnie, actually have on all of our players?
I think it's very, very important. Honestly, I've never had the chance to play in front of our kababayans in my stint as an international campaigner. But judging from what I've seen, and as a sports fan, it always helps. It gives you, shall we say it, the 6th man in the sport that you're playing in.
The 12th man in football.
12th man. Going back to what Sed was saying earlier, the initial match of the ASCALs is what I saw, the late goal, nearing extra time. I think was an omen of what was to come for the ASCALs. And I think our kababayans have rallied around the ASCALs. But more than that, going back to the question of Ma'am Christine, I think it's something special playing in front of your kababayans, simply because gives you another motivation to, it allows you to have that close contact with your kababayans, the home crowd, and playing for your country, playing for a flagging country is always going to be very, very special.
And not only that, but I think a lot of athletes also share your sentiment. I know a few athletes have wanted to actually retire, but delayed it in wanting to perform here in the Philippines.
Or made comebacks.
Diba? I've made comebacks. And of course...
Like Bailon for judo.
I agree with you there, but...
Correct?
Yeah.
But anyway, we've talked to Asia's fastest woman, Lydia De Vega, and she shares what it was like to compete in front of a home crowd.
Malaki yung difference niya when you compete in your country because the whole Filipino is behind you, cheering for you. But then when you compete in other countries, there's only few Filipino people na manunod sa'yo, mag-cheer sa'yo. Pero yung feelings na nandito ka sa bansa mo, mas mataas yung moral mo eh. Kumbaga, meron kang 100%, mabibigay mo yan, magkakaroon ka ng 110%. And then sometimes natatakot ka. Mawawala yung takot mo. Kasi alam mo na, maraming Pilipino na magdadasal sa'yo, maraming Pilipino na mag-cheer sa'yo, maraming Pilipino na papalakpak sa'yo.
Again, the opening ceremony will take place at the Philippine Arena in Bulacan in less than an hour, and our Pauline Versosa is there. Pauline.
Hi, Christine.
Hi, Pauline. Now, what can we expect from the opening rites?
Well, you can expect a lot of things tonight in the opening ceremony. As of now, there are already thousands of people here inside the Philippine Arena, from Filipinos, foreign spectators, PISCOC and government officials. However, the athletes and team officials are not here yet because they are preparing for the parade. Now, an hour ago, the pre-show already started with comedians Alan Kay and Gladys Guevara entertaining the crowd. The official SEA Games mascot Sammy also made his appearance already. However, there are still a lot of empty seats inside this 55,000 capacity arena. But nonetheless, those who are here are very excited to witness this historical opening tonight. Christine, earlier at 5 p.m., there was supposed to be a lockdown to prepare for President Rodrigo Duterte's arrival. But according to security officials here, they are still waiting for the advice of the Presidential Security Group on when lockdown will commence. So as of now, they are still letting people inside the arena. Now, in terms of what you can expect, this opening ceremony will begin at 7 with a parade of athletes led by our 6 flag bearers, including Idolin Diaz and more. This will be followed by a few messages from FISCOP Chairman Alan Peter Cayetano and COC President Bambo Tolentino. Then President Duterte will declare the games open before the athletes and officials take their oath. And there will also be a lot of special performances to cap tonight's opening. Back to you.
Well, Pauline, do tell us, what is
I want to ask, what's the atmosphere there, Pauline? Because did you get goosebumps? Gusto ko tanungin eh. Pawi, nagkaroon ka ba ng goosebumps when you entered the arena, saw the people there, and saw that this is actually happening in the Philippines? Here it is, the 30th Southeast Asian Games opening ceremonies in the country.
First of all, welcome back. And to answer your question, yes, I did get goosebumps upon entering the Philippine Arena. I was surprised actually with the number of people here. There was a long line outside the arena, a long line of vehicles. And once you enter the lobby, you'll just see a huge SEA Games sign. Even when you enter the arena itself, there's a huge, beautiful setup on the stage. Like I said earlier, the seats aren't filled yet, but hopefully as the night goes by, people will still come and watch the opening ceremonies here at the Philippine Arena.
Thank you, Pauline. We'll get back to you again, Pauline Versosa, there with the latest from the Philippine Arena in Bulacan, the venue of the opening ceremony for the 30th Southeast Asian Games.
And you are watching a CNN Philippines special presentation of the opening of the Southeast Asian Games. Thousands of delegates and fans are gathering at the Philippine Arena in Bulacan. Now we'd like to find out what's the traffic like along the North Luzon Expressway with moments to go before the opening ceremony begins. We'll find out after the break. We'll be right back.
If you didn't know, the competition is held every 2 years, and this time around, it will run from November 30 to December 11. Expectations are very high for the hometown athletes to deliver podium finishes and for the country to ensure a smooth and exciting environment for the competition. Now, 11 nations will actually be competing, so let's take a look at them in alphabetical order. Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, also Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Singapore, East Timor, Thailand, Vietnam, and of course, the host country, the Philippines. Now, if we're talking about records, Indonesia actually holds the record for staging the most sports with 44 in 2011. Our country's goal is to break that record. There will be 56 sports to be competed this 2019, and that'll make it the biggest ever in terms of disciplines. All in all, there will be nearly 11,000 athletes and team officials involved. 530 medal events will be up for grabs. Now, there will be a lot of athletes, a lot of sports, and a lot of venues. So if you're wondering where the main clusters will be, it will be in Clark, Subic, Metro Manila, and some areas in North and South Luzon. The country will also debut a brand new world-class facility in Capas, Tarlac, called the New Clark City, with an Olympic-sized pool and 400-meter track approved by the ITTF. The Philippines ranks 4th in the all-time SEA Games medal table with a stash of 3,351 medals. The last time the country hosted the Games in 2005 was also the last time the country finished overall. With home field advantage firmly secured, another first-place finish is in sight for the country, and the hopes are higher than ever. I'm Bea Fabregas, and you're watching CNN Philippines.
And we're back. Thanks so much for joining us. This is a CNN Philippines special coverage on the opening of the 30th Southeast Asian Games. Now, President Rodrigo Duterte apologizing for the logistic problems that hounded the early days of the hosting of the SEA Games. Athletes, spectators, volunteers, and even members of the media had to deal with a series of issues days before today's opening. Our senior correspondent, Ina Andolong, sat down with the president for an exclusive one-on-one interview. She filed this report.
It was my first question, the country's hosting of the SEA Games. On the eve of the opening ceremonies, the president expressing his disappointment over the inconveniences experienced by some visiting athletes.
I'm really apologizing for the country. But then again, I said, they should know while they are still here that government is not happy with it.
President Duterte stressed he's not taking the complaints lightly. Clearly, he was unhappy with reports of a faulty scoreboard, athletes waiting for long hours to be picked up at the airport, with some unable to check in right away.
You just cannot just flick your finger and say, maliit yan. To the countries that sent them here, it's a big deal. They were not small incidents, rather.
Okay.
Mabigat yun.
The president has ordered an investigation, but he wants it after the games. He vowed that no one will be spared, even his ally, House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano, who heads the SEA Games Organizing Committee. Earlier, he said he believes Cayetano isn't involved in any corruption in the SEA Games hosting.
Are you already sort of clearing him from any wrongdoing?
No, that is just my opinion. I could be wrong. If it causes me and my allies to fall politically, then so be it.
With the games about to go in full swing, the president saying he's rooting for all Filipino athletes.
My athletes, I treat them on equal footing in terms of ability to win the gold medal. All of them.
Ina Andulong, CNN Philippines.
And you can catch the replay of that one-on-one interview tomorrow at 5 p.m. 2 buses carrying delegates from Cambodia were involved in an accident along the North Luzon Expressway, and our Paulo Barcelon reports to us now from the NLEX Command Center. Paulo, what's the latest on the traffic situation along NLEX?
Well, Andre, 2 accidents were monitored throughout the day here at the NLEX Command Center in Balintawak, Quezon City. The most recent is what you just mentioned, an accident involving 2 buses carrying Cambodian delegates shortly before 5 o'clock this afternoon. NLEX Command Center says it happened along the Bocaue southbound lane of the expressway. The tollway management says one of the buses suddenly stopped, causing the bus behind it to hit the lead bus's rear portion. 1 passenger was slightly injured in the accident, but NLEX Command Center says all delegates were safely brought to the Philippine Arena. The toll management also says the delegates did not include athletes. Earlier, a truck stalled at the Lawang Bato northbound lane in Valenzuela City, but it was also quickly cleared by NLEX personnel. Meantime, a little bit of good news, Andre. Traffic is still smooth along the North Luzon Expressway. I'm going to show you now a portion of the Balintawak toll plaza. Traffic is still smooth here, save for the buildup of vehicles at the Balintawak Toll Plaza. NLEX management says this buildup is typical Saturday traffic. Motorists coming from either Metro Manila or Bulacan and Pampanga can expect a smooth drive to the Ciudad de Victoria Toll Plaza, the newly opened NLEX exit heading to the Philippine Arena. Now, NLEX management also advises motorists who are not going to the Philippine Arena tonight to take the Bocaue interchange instead to avoid travel delays. Andre?
Pao, are there special provisions for the SEA Games delegates or the vehicles at the NLEX? And besides that accident that you mentioned, Pao, how their convoys pass throughout the day?
Well, Andre, as early as 11 o'clock this morning, the delegates had started coming to the North Luzon Expressway, both from here in Balintawak and over at Bocaue toll exit. In fact, they were allotted special toll lanes, precisely the N10 and N11 lanes here in Balintawak and X14 and X15 in Bocaue. Save for that accident, Andre, throughout the day, most of these convoys were able to pass through smoothly as a stop-and-go scheme is implemented at the EDSA Balintawak in Cloverleaf and at the Balintawak Toll Plaza every time these convoys head toward the North Luzon Expressway. Now, the tollway management also deployed at least 100 personnel to assist in the travel needs of both the delegates and regular motorists coming through the North Luzon Expressway. Back to you, Andre.
Thanks, Pao. That was Paulo Barcelon with the latest from the NLEX Command Center. Christine, we still have here with us, in case you're just joining us right now, in the studio, 2 of our Sports Desk analysts. Of course, Adelph Tupas, our football analyst, also Inquirer sports writer. And we have SEA Games basketball gold medalist, PBA legend, Coach Ronnie Magsanok. Let's talk some more. Earlier, we did talk about how is it yung kumbaga yung home field advantage, yung home court advantage, and also yung mga victories. But let's go to Delph because you're constantly monitoring. Sabi mo kanina, the difference now is there is social media. So kumbaga everything is just online right away.
Yeah, the information is very much available online. I think it has its good sides, it has its bad sides, but overall, I think the events that happened, I think should be used positively, and be taken as a. We saw the negative backlash of social media with regards to the mishaps in the preparation and the hosting so far, but also we saw that. Because the information is easily available, we've seen private companies step in because of what they see on social media. So there have been, especially for football, that it's been very evident. The buses from Ceres, the pitch from Southridge, and just private individuals, especially the food issue with the women's national team. I think as soon as that went out and it went viral, a lot of well-meaning individuals immediately reached out to the team and helped with their food needs.
So you could say it could be like a blessing in disguise. These things happen, but then people come, actually to the rescue. Because
Noong time niyo ba may social media?
Parang bayanihan.
I would like to agree with you because, being in the past SEA Games, in other countries, we've had our share of problems. So this is nothing new. I've had instances wherein I would have to bring my own food just to make sure that I did have something to eat. Right? Because we weren't sure what would be prepared for us. And as athletes, we're always prepared. It is part and parcel of, what we signed up for.
There was one instance we were playing, for example, I will not name the country anymore. They were supposed to turn on the heater because it was almost winter time in that Asian country. What happened was they turned on the AC. So it made it more difficult for us to get used to the temperature, given that we are from a different climate country. But that's part of it. So find a way to compete, find a way to get over whatever humps that there are dahil ganun talaga eh. Pati yung simpleng-simpleng, dito ka ibababa, pwede ka namang bumaba dito. Sasabihin sa'yo, dito ka sabi sa amin, unload here. Pero yung hotel namin is over here. So you can't do anything about it. You just are in control of the things that you are in control of.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, aside from the fact that, there have been, mishaps, I think... my worry really was because the spotlight was on football for 1 week. It's probably the most popular sport and most popular event in the SEA Games. I don't think a lot of the countries care about how many goals they win in athletics or in swimming, but they are worried about this football gold. So with football starting in advance, 1 week before the games, and they see these sports stars, they treat this players as rock stars back home, and they see them being treated not so nicely, not hosted very well here. I think that triggered some of the fans online, especially from the other countries. So, it's also a matter of recognizing what's important, because if you did understand that football was the most important event, you have to, put your best foot forward as soon as possible, because these countries are not going, our visitors are going to be worried.
It just so happened that football was already being played before the official opening of the Southeast Asian Games. And it started, I believe, on the 26th of November. Yun yung point ni said na nandun na yung spotlight eh. Kaya everything was magnified. And it's because of the way our Southeast Asian neighbors look at their football sports stars as very high on the pedestal.
We'll continue this discussion even more, but in the meantime...
That's right. SEA Games veterans Eric Buhay and Kiko Thompson had their fair share of the limelight in competing both locally and in the international stage. Now, I was able to sit down with the two swimming legends.
Co-swimming legends.
That's right. And they talked about how it feels to carry the flag in home soil.
Once in a lifetime.
Yeah, it's an
really, and I think you really appreciate it when you retire from the sport. You look back and you remember, standing on the podium, the flag and the anthem going up. It's just such a proud.
Yes, I remember '88. I held
the flag.
Mabigat ba?
There. Actually, no. It's made of aluminum, but I mean, you're like special.
Because as you walk in, you know, the oval, all eyes are on you.
Oh, yes.
Because you are the one carrying the flag. Even if you don't see the entourage or all the other athletes, forget that. I see the flag.
I remember seeing this, like, I don't know how big that screen was, probably like 100 feet across. And your face is right there, you know, right in the middle of it. So it was amazing, and you know, the flag is waving, and then finally it's the camera is focused on you, and then it moves to the rest of the delegation.
How many medals?
Okay, hold on. Let me get my calculator.
Okay, let's calculate later. In the meantime, we just got word that our president, Rodrigo Duterte, has officially already arrived at the venue at the opening ceremonies. Again, today, the opening ceremonies of the 30th Southeast Asian Games, and you are watching a CNN Philippines special presentation on the opening of the SEA Games. Now, who are the country's best bets to win gold at the regional meet? Well, we'll have that discussion when we return. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
And welcome back to the CNN Philippines special coverage on the opening of the 30th Southeast Asian Games. A typhoon that may affect the games in the coming days is now inside Philippine territory. Pag-asa earlier said Typhoon Tisoy could make landfall in the Bicol region and may later affect areas where the SEA Games activities will be held. The Weather Bureau also earlier said Tisoy could be as strong as Typhoon Glenda, which hit the country in 2014. And we now talk to Pag-asa weather forecaster Alzer Aurelio. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much or good evening. Thank you so much for taking our call.
Yes, good evening to all of you.
Okay, good evening, sir. Now, what's the latest on Tisoy? Tisoy just entered the Philippine area of responsibility?
Yeah, it's already inside the Philippine area of responsibility, but as of this moment, it has no direct effect to any part of the country. But in the coming days, expecting by Monday, we will experience strong winds and moderate to heavy rains due to a typhoon Tisoy over mostly Luzon. And first, we'll experience that the effect of typhoon Tisoy is in Bicol region, especially the Verac Catanduanes.
Okay, so Alzer, syempre naman lahat naman ngayon nakatutok sa SEA Games, no? So we'd like to find out gaano ba kalakas ang magiging epekto nito sa mga athletes sa SEA Games. The rain, would we have cyclone signal? What can we expect?
Well, we expect a stormy weather by starting Monday and also Tuesday because Typhoon Tisoy will cross the mainly southern Luzon, and especially the Metro Manila will be experience rainy day, stormy weather by Monday. So we expect moderate to heavy rains, also strong winds. So critical days are December 2 and 3. So Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, okay, now a lot of people have compared this to Typhoon Glenda. Can we expect the same as of now as what you have been seeing? Would it be as strong?
Well, almost as strong as Typhoon Glenda. Typhoon Glenda is a typhoon. But the Typhoon Tisoy is over the sea, so expect to gain strength. So right now, 150 kilometers per hour, which is the same strength as Typhoon Glenda. So Tisoy, we expect to gain more strength before landfall.
Okay, we expect, and you mentioned something about landfall. When and where?
Based on our forecast track, between Monday afternoon and Tuesday early morning, over Bicol region.
Okay, tapos ngayon, syempre, nagla-landfall na yun, diba? So when can we expect it to exit?
Well, by Thursday, we expect that Tisoy exit PAR.
Okay, well, thank you so much, our Pagasa weather forecaster, Alzer Aurelio. Once again, we are still monitoring Typhoon Tisoy and hope it will not affect really a lot of the games because there's a constraint factor here. The games have to end sometime by December 11, and if games are canceled for one reason or another, that will just put everything back.
Meantime, Christine, the International Broadcast Center in Clark, Pampanga is accommodating around 1,500 foreign and local journalists who will cover the Southeast Asian Games. Bea Fabregas is there now. She joins us live. Bea?
Andre and Christine, the media plays a key role in spreading the word on how our athletes perform, of course, in the SEA Games. Of course, there's going to be a big audience, a large audience across the Southeast Asian region and beyond that will be tuned in for updates on how their teams fare in the competition over the next few days. Now, the nerve center for this effort is the IBC, or the International Broadcast Center here in Clark, Pampanga. And on opening day, we check on the facility. According to Nestor Balora, the overall project manager here at the IBC, there are 18 booths that were set up for the different broadcast rights holders. While broadcast entities can opt to bring their own equipment, the IBC provides video and audio lines that can receive and transmit up to 25 channels at a time. The IBC also has a central equipment room providing signals fed to the different networks. And when the games get busier, I was informed that they will be capable of sending signals for 16 feeds simultaneously. The area also has a social media lounge and free Wi-Fi rather, but most have decided to purchase additional internet packages and are happy with the connection so far. Food and drinks are available for the media as well. Now, as you mentioned, we're expecting to accommodate as much as 1,500 journalists that will be in and out of the IBC during the games, but they can also enjoy watching the action over at Hall C. The venue is just waiting for one more security system, but overall everything is complete, and that also the PNB will be arriving to help out with additional manpower very soon. Finally, a virtual booth with different templates related to the SEA Games is also available for added coverage needs. All in all, the IBC is ready for the jam-packed schedule of games ahead. Andre and Christine.
Bea, how are the other journalists finding their experience so far there at the IBC?
Yes, Andre, I spoke to Maud Faris, who's part of the Malaysian broadcast team, and he shared with me that the only hiccup that they experienced so far was a slight delay with their equipment, but once that arrived and everything was up and running, everything was good to go. And he also personally mentioned that he appreciates the food. So if our athletes need nourishment, then the media need them too.
Wonderful, Bea.
Thank you, Bea.
I mean, it sounds like everything is going A-OK at the IBC.
Of course, that was Bea Fabregas joining us from the International Broadcast Center in Pampanga. We still have with us inside the studio, Christine, two of our sports desk analysts, Sadelf Tupas, and SEA Games basketball gold medalist, one and only PBA legend, Coach Ronnie Magsanok. Coach said, now let's talk about some of the country's best bets in the SEA Games. Yung mga ini-expect natin, yung athletes to watch out for na magde-deliver ng gold dito. Siyempre, pag binabanggit yan, there's Carlos Yulo, there's EJ Obiena, there's Yumir Marshall, there's Heidelin Diaz. Let's talk about these bets, Coach.
These are world-class athletes who've made big statement already, not just in the Southeast Asian region, but in the global stage. Throw into the mix Margie Didal, who I think is one of the best athletes in the previous year. You also have to take into consideration those double gold medalists from the previous Southeast Asian Games, like Trent Beram. And of course, you also have to factor in Eric Ray, who's trying to defend his 400-meter hurdles.
Sean Cray, yeah.
Right. So, I talk about the three athletes you mentioned earlier. Kaya lang kung titignan mo, dun sa huling Southeast Asian Games, 13 sports with gold medals were what was the country given. So, out of this, athletics gave the most number of gold medals with 5. Pero, kung titignan din natin, aside from billiards na may 2 at boxing at may 2 and judo and taekwondo with 2, there were other disciplines that you were expecting to bring home the gold from that were not able to deliver. But right now, going back to what DJ De Vega mentioned earlier in one of our clips, playing in front of your kababayans will make it extra special, extra motivated, tatapang ka, at mawawala yung kaba mo. So, I look at this as a possible spike in terms of gold medal count, in terms of medal haul in general.
And not only only that, but as Delph also mentioned, like our athletes are now national heroes.
Yes.
They are rock
The modern
stars.
day heroes,
We have heard them perform abroad, but they have actually never seen them live.
Yes,
Here in our home, up close and personal.
Kasi you're right.
Right?
We just
So I
see their
think-
clips. Like, for example, EJ Obiena. You know, he was the first Filipino to qualify for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Pole vaulter, EJ Obiena, and of course, he wants to be the region's best here. EJ, who's 23 years old, Sedelf, you also, of course, been covering this. Kumbaga, you've been hearing about EJ Obiena. Yeah.
Well, he is just one of the many athletes that are expected to deliver. But, you know, because of that international exposure, I think it will and bringing it to you know, your home country and playing in front of your countrymen, I think that's a big help. But over the last few years, I think the Philippine Sports Commission has really done a great job, and the NSAs have done a great job in identifying the athletes that who have potential, and have brought them overseas for training year-round. Kaloyulo, for example, has been in Japan for the longest time, and you know, he is going to be one of the. I expect him to be one of the stars of this Southeast Asian Games. He actually has an event already, and tomorrow, I believe. So.
Alam mo, Andre at Ma'am. Alam mo, hindi lang yung ating mga kapwa Pilipino yung sabik na makita sila up close and personal. As representatives of the country more than once, alam mo, makita ko lang si Lydia De Vega nun, tuwan-tuwa na ako. Makita ko lang si Akiko Thompson, nahabol-habol namin sila eh. Kasi they were regarded as really heroes by the other countries. Makita ko lang noon si Paing Nepomuceno, iba na yung pakiramdam ko because it gives you so much pride that this kababayan of yours, no, eh talagang sobra yung tingin ng mga tao. Hindi lang pinagkakaguluhan, talagang halos sinasamba. And they were major inspirations for all of us to try to attain a footnote of what they were able to accomplish.
Okay, and of course, we're going to get back to that. But of course, I wanted to ask also the projected number of goals. And then we have the obvious, which is the Obienas and the Vidals and all of that. But I'm so excited to find out also the new ones that will start to sprout.
Well,
right?
let's see.
And bring more honor to the country.
We'll go back to Coach Ronnie and Sedelf later on. You are still watching a CNN Philippines special presentation on the opening of the 30th Southeast Asian Games.
That's right, and all eyes are on the Philippine Arena in Bulacan for the opening ceremony of the regional meet, and we get another update on the ground when we return. Keep it here. And you are watching a CNN Philippines special coverage on the opening of the 30th Southeast Asian Games. President Rodrigo Duterte now at the Philippine Arena for the opening ceremony of the Southeast Asian Games, and our Pauline Versosa is there. Paui.
That's right, Christine. President Rodrigo Duterte is already here inside the Philippine Arena. He arrived a little past 6:20 p.m., just in time for the opening ceremony of the 30th Southeast Asian Games, which will begin exactly at 7 p.m. Now, once he arrived, President Duterte was welcomed by FISCOC Chairman and House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano. And as of now, the Philippine Arena is already on a lockdown, meaning they will not allow people to enter the venue anymore. However, I am still seeing a few people outside of the entrance, but security is quite strict, so they will no longer let people inside. During the opening ceremony later, President Duterte is expected to declare the games open before the athletes and officials take their oath. Christine?
And of course, Paui, I'm sure a lot of people are anxious to find out about how, you know, the cauldron will actually be lit.
Yes.
Have you heard any rumors so far? Because it's supposed to be a surprise until now.
Well, Senator Manny Pacquiao was, of course, said that he was going to light the cauldron in New Clark City, but reports are saying that it won't be done live. There are rumors that they say that they already taped it days before tonight, and there are fans at New Clark City who were asked.
All right, we're going to try to get him back.
But thank you again thank you, Paui. Pauline Versosa there with the latest from the Philippine Arena in Bulacan, where the venue of the opening ceremony for the 30th Southeast Asian Games. You are still watching a CNN Philippines special presentation on the opening of the Southeast Asian Games. We'll be right back. Stay tuned only here to CNN Philippines. Welcome back. You're still watching a CNN Philippines special coverage on the opening of the 30th Southeast Asian Games. And we still have here with us two of our sports desk analysts. We have Sadelf Tupas and SEA Games basketball gold medalist, PBA legend, Coach Ronnie Magsano. Coach said, Christine, before we close this show, we've talked about the SEA Games, those who can yung bets and yung mga mishaps, so on and so forth. Ano yung mga ina-expect nyo na mangyayari dito sa SEA Games?
Well, I am hoping that we will be able to exceed our gold medal count in the previous execution of the SEA Games.
Sana naman kasi 24 lang naman tayo last time, diba?
Kita mo, safe yun. Kasi I think what I'm looking at is the impact that it will create for this generation. Who will be the next Christine Jacob? Who will follow DJ De Vega? And perhaps any triumph over the previous performance will create a lot of impact. So as a former athlete, yun yung hinahanap ko eh. And you also are looking at a possible development of future sports leaders who will not just try to emulate what we are holding right now, but probably have that foresight of planning something bigger or even better, and make this a regular part of our execution as a nation.
Well, I do hope that something, I mean, from these games, no, that the government and other people can actually see the potential that we have as Philippine athletes for them to actually invest and, you know, develop these. I mean, we are exceptional, and only now, as I said, that we are actually sprouting, you know, winning not only here but in our region, but, you know, in Asia, in Europe.
And taking off from that point, I think this SEA Games, I think, is also, you know, for some of the athletes that have already qualified for the Tokyo Olympics, I think this is a great showcase for them.
A prelude.
A great opportunity to, you know, show everyone that, you know, show all the Filipinos that, you know, we're capable of taking it to the next level. As soon as we win, if we take care of business at home, maybe next year in Tokyo, we can win our first gold.
What helps athletes is that we know we're capable, but it even adds if everybody else believes it. Because it adds to our, you know, our confidence level, knowing that we can actually, you know, compete. Like in basketball, diba?
Aside from all this that we are looking at, no, in terms of what can be impacted by the holding of these games, yung welfare ng athletes also has to be top of mind.
Agree.
Diba? They will perform, they will do their best for flag and country, but we have to take care of our national athletes because human resource is the best treasure that any nation has. And these are athletes who are from outside Manila, from outside the country, looking to represent the country. Achievers, milestone bringers. We have to take care of them. We have to look after them.
Well said from an athlete that has been there, done that.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here and spending your Saturday with us as we, of course, open the 30th Southeast Asian Games.
This is definitely a you know, historic, momentous
historic
occasion.
episode as well. We just had two of our sports desk analysts, Sadelf Tupas and SEA Games basketball gold medalist, PBA legend, Coach Ronnie Magsano. Thank you to both of you.
That's right. And this has been a CNN Philippines special on the opening of the 30th Southeast Asian Games. I'm Christine Jacobson-Dejas.
It's great to be back, Christine. Stay tuned to CNN Philippines for all the latest on the Southeast Asian Games. My name is Andre Felix. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend.